See, a lot of times depression comes on us and comes at us because if you're shouldering stuff that you can't handle. I mean, how happy are you? I mean, you might be able to carry a 5-pound bag of potatoes, maybe even a 10-pound. Somebody here might even be able to handle 100 pounds. But if I kept adding pound after pound after pound, everybody's got a limit. And what's happening is when you're taking responsibility, you're just putting more and more and more on yourself. And if you're walking around with that kind of weight and burden on you, how can you delight yourself in anything? How can you find joy? How can you find peace when you are so burdened? Jesus never said that things weren't going to come against you. You know, faith does not block you from stuff happening. Faith carries you through the things that happen. Faith is a weapon. Because I can either believe the report of the enemy or I can believe the report of the Lord. I've got faith in the word of the Lord. So if I trust in the Lord, and then if I can delight in God and say, you know what, God? I trust you. I trust you that this thing is happening. And God, I just delight in that. And I begin to just thank Him. God, I don't know when it's coming. And I don't know how it's coming. But I can delight and I can find joy in the Lord. Because I can delight myself in Him. And you see, once I trust in Him and then I delight in Him, then it says, then I'll give you the desires of your heart. So maybe we're not seeing healing and we're not seeing manifestation and we've got all this stuff because we're shouldering stuff and trying to figure out stuff and trying to fix everything and trying to pinpoint everything, and everything has got to have a reason, and everything has got to have an answer, and everything has got to have a question, and everything has got to be wrapped up in a bow so that I understand every jot and tittle of everything. Because inquiring minds want to know, and sometimes God just wants to bring stuff to light, and He wants to fix it for you, but you've got your hands on it. Another thing the Spirit of God spoke to me is He wanted me to tell you, can you just enjoy Him? To just enjoy the Lord, enjoy the presence of God. And here's the thing, we've got to do our work, and we've got to be diligent, and we've got to study the Word, and we've got to keep ourselves right, and be wise as serpent, harmless as dove, be that watchman on the wall. But yet, enjoy the Lord. You know, everybody talks about, you know, relationships take a lot of work, okay? Marriage takes a lot of work. Friendships take a lot of work. Just because when God starts to reveal something to you and something comes up, many people don't want to deal with it, so they'll say, you know what, it's the enemy, and they blame everything on the enemy. I want to tell you that that's not the enemy. When all this stuff starts to come up, I will tell you 9 out of 10, it's God. Because what He's saying is your house is stinking. There's something blocking you. And I want to tell you that if you are praying in a way, Lord, draw me close to you. God, bring me into a deeper relationship. God, heal me of these thoughts. God, tear down these strongholds. Don't get angry, because when this stuff starts to come up, God is answering your prayer. It's not the enemy. And sometimes I think that we give the enemy so much more glorification and so much glory than he really deserves, because it's not the enemy bringing this stuff up. Because the enemy would love you to just stay silent and stay dysfunctional and stay where you are and die. But you see, when God starts to shift your life and he wants to start bringing good things, good people into your atmosphere, in order for him to make room for that new thing, he's got to get that stuff out. It's just like, listen, every season, what do? You clean out your closets. You take the stuff that's all cluttering and keeping up so much space, and you throw it out. Otherwise, you don't have any room for the new stuff. And if you don't clean the house out, you're going to look like one of those people on TLC, the hoarder. One of the main reasons that that our past keeps haunting us is, number one, we meditate on it. Have you ever really kind of thought something over and over and over and over again? You'll be sitting there and a situation will come up, you'll meet somebody else, and then all of a sudden you go, oh, I remember what happened. You did this to me once. Nobody's ever going to do this again. And what happens is you start making people pay for what in your present for what people did in your past. And many times God wants to bring a blessing into our life, and we miss it, not because of the enemy, but because of our own stinking thinking. And people have told us, just grow up, just get over it. And I want to tell you that while part of that, listen, you have to understand that once God has revealed things, you've got to start to deal with things. Because that message and that experience, it's already cost you 20, 30, 40 years. Do you want it to continue to cost you? That's where Jesus said it, the man at the pool of Bethesda. Do you really want to get well? And this is where you have to die out of this spirit. You have to die to it. You have to really come to the place where saying, you know what, God? I don't know how to do this, but I'm going to lay down what I believe, and God will come in and he will reparent you. Because what we don't understand is that even though we are 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years old, if we haven't dealt with the little girl or the little boy that's in us, it really is our little girl and our little boy that is still screaming out. And we're still seeing every situation through the hurt of the wounded child. That making sense? Okay. And here's the thing. People tell us to grow up and to just get over it, but getting over something is not dealing with something. See, you can get it over. You can just push it out of your mind and you can function. But you function dysfunctionally. The key is that you want to function in a functional manner, in the way that God wants you to have a good and happy and joyous normal life. So getting over something is not the same as dealing with something. There is one major step that bridges the gap between dealing and healing, and that is grieving. And I will tell you that probably one of the main reasons that wounds stay open and don't get closed is because we have not dealt with it, and then we have not grieved it. To grieve is our God-given right. Grieve is the process which God gave us to be able to accept and have closure on the loss of something or someone. When people do not grieve properly, they do not have closure. And closure is necessary for healing properly.